Hi everybody, so we're going to do a fun exercise today. What we're going to do is we're going to have a look at the items that I gave an antique talk the other day in Linwood about, and I'm going to show them to you. I'm going to talk about, but then I'm going to go on to ChatGPT and we're going to see what ChatGPT comes up with for that item, which is quite fascinating. And when I've been using that in the past few months, I guess it has come up with some interesting results. So let's get on with the show. First item that we have is a green jasperware candlestick with a couple of little marks on the top there. This is currently listed on Trade Me, along with 3 other pieces of green jasperware. So what would I have to say about this? Well, Wedgwood has been going around a long time. Started around about the 1730s, I think, from Josiah Wedgwood. This is known as jasperware. It's unglazed. It's kind of a bisqueware, if you like, which basically means unglazed items. That white there is called sprig work, and it's applied, as you can see, like they don't pour that in, it's applied, it's stuck onto the base product. How much is this worth? That's around about 5 inches ish. How much would that be? It's quite an unusual candlestick. I can't recall having seen another candlestick quite like that. I would say if that was being sold separately in a retail shop, that'd be about $50 to $60. Could even be slightly more. So what does ChatGPT have to say about it? Okay, so we've uploaded the Wedgwood and let's see what it comes up with. This is a Wedgwood jasperware candlestick in the traditional sage green with white classical relief decoration. Jasperware is an unglazed stoneware that Wedgwood has been making since the late 18th century, and pieces like this are still collected today. For New Zealand resale value, if in excellent condition with no chips or repairs, a single candlestick like this typically sells for around $30 to $60. Big, wide range there at auction or on Trade Me. A pair in good condition often goes for $70 to $120. Which is, what, is that retail, is it, I guess? Prices are on the lower end if there's wear, staining or damage, and on the higher end if it's pristine or boxed. If you want, I can check the New Zealand sales, blah, blah, blah. And this is what I always do with AI, go, are you sure? Because it's going to recheck itself, and sometimes it makes obvious mistakes. And it's actually found the identical pair of candlestick. Here are some reference images of comparable jasperware. What is it? Josiah Wedgwood, yep, late 1700s. When did Wedgwood actually start? I thought it was earlier than that. 1759, so I was out by about 20 odd years. And jasperware itself started about 1774. One of the earlier things was a copy of the Portland vase. Read up about that, it's quite fascinating. Okay, so that's one thing. How accurate do you think I was? Second thing we're going to go to is a crinoline swan. That's right. Pretty good condition, very good condition actually. Crinoline swan with the crown mark underneath. So let's see what AI thinks. Now, I can tell you now, I'm going to sell that for anywhere from about $220 to $270 online. I'm trying for about $240, $250 at the moment. Haven't had any success. The market for crinoline is just a little bit subdued at the moment. Years ago, struggled to sell one of those for $15. True, no lies. Now, hopefully, because I've already asked it a question, it'll know exactly what I want and just hit submit. So this is a crinoline pottery swan vase made in New Zealand. Details backstamp with the crown and crown Lynn, New Zealand. In that style suggests it was produced between the mid-1950s and 1960s. Crown Lynn swans were made in several sizes. Yours looks to be the medium size, which is wrong. This is actually the small size, and it says 15 to 16 centimeters long, but measuring it would confirm. They were produced in a range of glazes. Yours in the white satin matte glaze, which is popular but not as rare as colored glazes like yellow, pink or jade green. Current New Zealand value, here we go, small. I love it. White swans valued to $20 to $40, medium swans $40 to $70, and everybody who's in the game knows that if you got a medium swan, they are rare as hen's teeth, and a large swan $80 to $120. Coloured glazed versions can sell for much more. If you like, I can check the exact Trade Me sale, so this will be interesting. So yes, please. So you're wondering where it actually got that information from. Auction results, Art and Object Auction, which is an auction up in Auckland. They sold in February 2023. Prices were a little bit higher back then. A large white swan for $852, which is crazy. Could have got one on Trade Me far less than that. And a pair of small white swans fetched $365, which is basically what you'd expect in an auction because the prices are lower. It says a Facebook New Zealand collectors group suggested that for large crownland swans in good condition, prices may reach up to $700. I have sold one for $700. Another New Zealand listing, small swan prices ranging from $325 to $426. I don't think they've ever been that high, generally speaking. You always get some weird results, like I think a small crownland swan sold for some crazy money on Trade Me, and I couldn't see anything to make it special for why it went there, but maybe a buyer who had no idea what they should be paying. As you can see, that is fundamentally different to what AI came up in the first place. Our next item is a Royal Doulton figurine. This particular figurine is called Darling. And you'll see it's got an HN number there, HN for Harry Nixon. Harry Nixon number 1985, copyright 1945, Doulton & Co. Limited. What do I think this is going to go for? Around about $80 in today's market. And it says that this is a Royal Doulton figurine called Darling, model number HN1985, designed by Leslie Haroldine. Remember that HN number is for Harry Nixon. It's kind of like a show of respect to Harry Nixon, who was one of the very, very early Royal Doulton designers, may have even started the figurines, I'm not too sure. But Leslie Haroldine is one of the big names and designers of figurines. So she designed this in 1945, or at least it says she did. Depicts a young child in a long white nightgown, hand to mouth. The base mark shows the standard Royal Doulton crown and lion backstand with the copyright date and model number, produced in various runs from the mid-20th century into the later decades. So it was produced over a series of years, not just 1 year. The base style and font suggest yours is a post-1970s production. Interesting. Darling sells for about $60, $90, so my $80 wasn't far off. Our next item is a piece of Poole studio wear, and you'll see it's got an artist monogram on the back, which is that one there. 42 could be the shape of it. These were made in the 1960s and 70s from best of my knowledge. This here, it's quite a small one. I'd say they would sell for about $50 to $60. Let's have a look. So I see that this is a Poole pottery dish from England in the Delphus range, which was produced mainly in the late 1960s through to the 1970s. The bright psychedelic glaze with abstract hand-painted design is typical of the Delphus line, which was Poole's most recognisable mid-century modern range. The dolphin backstamp style and painter's initials, or monogram I think they call it, is BM, helps narrow down the production period to around the early to mid-1970s. Shape number is 42, refers to the octagonal dish form. Each piece was hand-painted, so no two are identical, and some designs are more sought after than others, depending on the colour balance and vibrancy. In New Zealand, Poole Delphus dishes usually sell for $25 to $45, so we're going to check that. We asked, are you sure? And it came up with a market value update using live New Zealand listings from Etsy, and similar platforms listings show vintage Poole pottery Delphus dishes currently priced around $64. I think I was a little bit closer than their first guess at it. This is a EP or chrome plated condiment set. Had to think what it was. Condiment set in the shape of a ship. So I thought this would be quite interesting for any collectors of sea transport, shipping, anything like that. Haven't sold it yet. I think I'm asking about $45 for it, which I think is quite cheap actually. So I see that this is a chrome plated, we thought it was, set in the shape of an ocean liner or a boat, probably dating from the Art Deco period of 1930s to 1940s. Design includes two removable shakers for salt and pepper and a central open pot, likely for mustard, in a cobalt blue glass liner. Typically sell for $60 to $100. Well, I can't get that. Scarce the designs or those confirmed to be linked to famous shipping lines, i.e. branded, like White Star Lines or Cunard Lines or something like that, $120 to $160. And I'm always asking, are you sure? Because I have realized that the first time that TradeMe comes up with something, it can be TradeMe, AI comes up with something, it can be way wrong. Way wrong. A comparable chrome shaped cruet set sold for £12 at auction in Kent, UK 2019, and another one achieved £26 hammer price, so that's around about $50. So me asking about 45 is pretty fair. Panasonic radio. These here were around when I was growing up, so I'm going to say this is about 1960s, 1970s. This is National Panasonic. Looks in pretty good nick. I'd say this is more of an ornament. You can see this kind of hanging in a den, sitting in a den. My price on that, around about $50. So AI thinks that this is the National Panasonic multi-band portable radio, probably from the late 1960s to early 1970s. Scroll down, see what it's worth. Between $50 and $90 if in good condition, if in mint condition, about $1 to $150. So we'll see. I haven't put that on yet. I might try that out, see if I can get a little bit near that higher price. The exact model number would help, so I might have to take it out of its case and see what we can find. Piece of raw Winton chintz. This is sweet pea chintz. This used to be the bee's knees when I started about 23 years ago. It's got raw Winton and sweet pea on the bottom. They don't always have the pan marked on the bottom for chintz. Right at the moment, I'm trying to sell those for about $90. Years ago, $250, $320 for that size. Large ones could have been even up to $500. Grimwade's was the original name before it became Raw Winton. Sweet pea chintz patent jug made in England, likely to place it between the late 1940s and early 1950s. Sweet pea is one of Raw Winton's most popular chintz patterns with vibrant multicoloured flowers on a yellow background. Never noticed it's yellow background. Chintzware from Raw Winton is highly collectible, at least it used to be. Your jug looks like a small creamer, part of a tea set or breakfast set. Was actually it is part of a graduated set of jugs. So for this size in very good condition, $60 to $90, which is about fair. We'll just ask, are you sure? So it's come back with a variety of images of different sizes of jugs, some of which I can tell, like that one which has got kind of straight-ish sides, the second one from the left. That type, those are the ones that they had on a breakfast set. A UK antique seller lists a sweet pea chintz ascot shaped jug. I don't think that's ascot. Smaller creamer for £50. Bowl and creamer set sells on eBay for around $29 US the pair. There's possibly a starting bid. Could be a little bit misleading. So this is where you need a little bit of knowledge to interpret what AI says, as well as taking some of what AI says with a grain of salt. Maybe the range that I'm selling it is on the lower side, but I've been trying to sell that for a year. All right, next item. Temuka NZR New Zealand Railways mug, 1991. Very late for NZR stuff. I think about as late as it goes. But this is unusual. This is the original box that it came in. Look at that. So you can get the two. That was made in Temuka, made by Temuka. Made in Temuka, by Temuka. So, I'm trying to sell for $60. Do I think it'll sell? I do. Do I think it's going to be an easy sell? I don't. The inappreciation from New Zealand Railway Limited, or Rail Limited, printed on the box suggests that these were likely given as corporate gifts to staff, clients, or partners rather than sold commercially. Interesting. Value. A Temuka corporate mug from the early 1900s without the box would generally fetch $10 to $20. With the original box in unused condition, could fetch $20 to $35. So I'm going for $60, which is way on the high side of that. Possibly more to a dedicated New Zealand rail enthusiast, and that's the one I want to hook. Our last item, camera. Again, another ornament. Can't even get this one open. I had this open the other day. Why is this not opening on me? Oh, there we go. a little button. There's little things that sometimes if you don't press them right, you can't get them open. Ta-da. Now I know that this slides out like that. Now you can see that hanging on the wall behind me. Like that, it'd be quite cool, wouldn't it? And that's what a lot of these are used for. They're ornaments. This is a Zeiss Ikon Compur, C-O-M-P-U-R. I think I'm trying to sell this for about $50 to $60. So it says that this is a Zeiss Ikon folding camera, likely from the 1920s or 1930s, fitted with a Compur shutter. That's interesting. Zeiss Ikon was a German camera manufacturer formed in 1926. Now this is where AI can get very handy, working out stuff like this. From the merger of several companies, including Contessa, Nautical, Ernemann, Goetz, and Eicher. If complete with bellows in good condition and shutter working, an early Zeiss Ikon Compur model, $60 to $120, so I wasn't too far off. And if rare with a high-end lens, value can be higher, who would know. If the bellows are damaged, $20 to $50. Rubbish. Okay, so there you have it. So what do you think of AI? If you have no knowledge at all, AI is going to at least give you something. And sometimes, particularly as we saw with that camera, it's going to give you something quite fascinating and interesting. And when it comes to prices, most prices, I'd say, are generally right. But I know that with some of them, they are miles off. If you don't ask Art Shaw, it can come up with an estimate straight off. I don't know how this does this, which is way off the mark, as we saw with that Crown Swan. It's going to help you sort the collectible or antique from the dross. Until next time, bye for now.